Alright, hey guys, ICC Cup Fits back for some more epic Brood War action here. We're gonna have another TVZ on our hand, or not another, we'll have a TVZ on our hands. Now, spawning in the top left, competing for 8th team's DeSPA, it will be Obelisco as the red Terran. Now, I have to just say, the red color for every single race just looks so badass. I just want to put that out there. Now, for spawning in the top right, competing for Team Courage, it will be Shuruken, the white Zerg. Now, white Zerg looks pretty epically awesome too, I'm not going to lie. But the map will be Circuit Breaker, so let me just take a little minute to go out of my way and explain this map for you. Your main isn't too huge. It's kind of small compared to a lot of other maps that you have like a ginormous main to. But not like so small you can't put anything in it. Your main, your naturals kind of has this kind of big opening to it. It's not as easily defendable. Most likely you just put a couple things here, but it's just something a little more concerned to it. This map is more open than other maps. You have a gasless third. Some people will try to take an expand here lower league games, but most of the time it just gets denied. So most people will take an expand out here or in a whole nother main, and you can spawn pretty much anywhere you really want to. So we'll have to see if the Zerg is going to be doing some crazy shenanigans when they take 3 base, but yep. And since it's a TVZ, if we're going to go by standard means, we'll probably be seeing Marine Medic, we'll probably be seeing Marine Medic, Science Vessel if we're going to be going for mainstream for mainstream TVZ. You may or may not see tanks in that build, depending on the players' want for tanks, if they really want them or not. I've seen both. I've also seen mech that's fairly effective against Zerg, so it can go either way, and we'll just have to see what their tech path really goes down to it. It really depends on preference, I guess, in this matchup. Terran can go either way. Now, for Zerg, they're kind of restricted to Ling Lurker Mutant Defiler. But I mean, it's a pretty healthy composition. It's not like it's a bad thing. It's just like what standard play has come to. I'm sure you could try to get Hydra, and then that normal tech switches into Lings will go tech switch into Ultra eventually. But that tends to happen only when the Zerg is behind, of what I have seen from standard play. But it definitely looks like Bio is going to be the choice from the Terran, as he's not getting any kind of... actually, no, I don't know that, because it looks like he's going to go for an expand. It's just like this drone is being very, very pesky. But this map is pretty long. A lot of ladder maps, non-Blizzard maps, tend to have a pretty long... They're pretty big. The rush distance seems pretty long in a lot of them I've noticed. So a lot of early game aggression doesn't tend to be that present, and also I think a lot of people don't feel as comfortable going for that because it's not as safe. I kind of feel the opposite. My standard play is so horrible. I always go for some wacky builds just to hope that they work, and it's just kind of fun looking back and like, oh yeah. So some early scout works and stuff. I'm trying desperately to try to get the underused units in Brood War to make an appearance. Like Firebat for Terran, Scout for Protoss, and for Zerg, I mean pretty much all the units are pretty much available, and a lot they're used. I mean, you have the Hydra there for make lurkers. You have Lings as the backbone of the army most of the time, at least for Terran and TVZ. Ultras are there late game. Defilers are always used. Queens. That's what I always forget. Queens aren't used as nearly as much. So I'll see if I can incorporate those into a build. So I'll play random, and then I'll see if I can incorporate like Queen Defiler Lurker. That's gonna be the most gas intensive build I could think of. And my computer just froze. No, I take that back. My computer didn't freeze. My thing was like, oh yeah, let's not totally work and stuff like that. So I just want to make that. I'm just gonna pause my thing for a second, quick. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes like my computer freezes for Windows 7 because it's very temperamental with Brood War, so it tends to happen somewhat frequently. I just didn't want to restart the cast completely. I just want to make sure if I missed anything, which I didn't. The files are all there, which is nice. I didn't lose anything. And then I can always go back to the point in time where the video froze, and I just wanted to make sure I was still recording, No big deal. I'm sorry if my technical difficulties got in the way of the cast. So, pretty much, not any crazy shenanigans, taking like a risky third or anything. It looks like it's going to be, he will be doing the lair on the natural, as this is probably more easier to secure because you're not going to have as much defensive structures here. But that really depends on how aggressive the Terran is, and we'll see if he's going mech and double starport, which is pretty interesting. Probably Wraith play. I don't see this nearly as much, and I kind of like this. It definitely gives like a feel to the game again. Like, instead of just seeing, like, for the past 2 games we just saw, was it games 2 and 3? No. Games 1 and 2 were just like the blandest. Well, no, I should say that, but like they were like the same game. Like you could literally copy and paste the same build, and they were doing the exact same thing. I mean, that was like a blandish game, and there were 4 completely different players in both games, and it's just like some of that. So it's nice to see some variety going. So it's going to 2 port Wraith. Might even be getting Cloak with that as well. I'd be interested to see how that goes down. Now again, it depends on how you look at it. Do you want to put yourself in the scenario where you really want to go Cloak and you want to guarantee damage? Because when you're going for that Cloak, you want to do as much damage as possible. You want to make sure that the Zerg has no idea that you're doing that, and I don't find it as necessary to do that against a Zerg just because of the overlords that are there. They're everywhere, so they tend to be not as useful, but he will be going through 2 base 3 hatch Muta play, which is a pretty good build to go. I don't know how well Wraith stack up against Muta in a just a one-on-one fight. I think Wraith can micro better, but I could be completely wrong. This is the first time I'm ever going to see it, so this will definitely be pretty interesting for me. And I just really want to see how committed he's going to be to these Wraiths. He looks like pretty committed, but it looks like he's going to be looking to way to tech switch into this, away from this, because he will be getting his eBay up. Yeah, and it looks like he's going to be going mainly buyout. That will be, I believe, 5 Muta, if not flock. 5 Muta in that flock. So we'll see if these Wraiths will have enough numbers for it. He will have, I believe he'll have stim in time. He just wants to be careful not to lose these. He might actually lose these Wraiths if he's not careful. He will have Cloak, though, to deal with this pretty well. And yeah, this will actually have to fend off all the Muta, which will just completely negate that completely. You just don't want to be too careful. Doesn't want to overextend those Wraiths, as they are pretty expensive units. I believe they're 125, I think. So they're even more expensive than Muta. So. And they take longer to come out, too, because Muta can pop up by the 3s, versus you're going to need, like, 6 starports to do that, and I don't recommend doing that. But we'll see. He might be going for more of, like, a Sky Terran, or it looks like kind of more of, like, a 1-1-1 kind of thing, where he's kind of getting everything right now. Definitely interesting, going a very healthy, I don't know how well it's going to work out, but he definitely has a healthy unit composition, and I'll see how it plays out. Kind of going everything in the book here. The only thing this tends to do is that you're kind of spread thin between upgrades. You don't know what to get, which means your tech is somewhat delayed. He's just getting stim, so he doesn't have stim quite right away. But it looks like he's going for the mass Muta Ling style, even with a couple Scourge in there. He probably want to invest in Overlord speed, which is exactly what he's doing to combat the cloaked Wraith. I was gonna say Banshee, but I got past that. So I'm glad to see these Wraiths in here. It really changes the game up a lot. Still gonna be off of 3 barracks and nothing out of the factory yet, and double Wraith. I'm glad to see this. Will he do a lot of damage though? That's the question. That is a lot of Muta right there, and he will have Overlord speed like right now. So I don't know if this engagement is really gonna be a good idea. He wants to cloak and get out there as fast as possible. But let's see if his micro is going to be really good. He does have a good air stack going there. Doesn't want to know when to engage. He wants to be careful. He might lose all these as they do stack. Will he be able to cloak out of there? It doesn't look at. Oh, and he loses everything. Oh, wow. No, he cloaked 2 of them away. I'd get out of there. And yeah, those Wraiths will fall. Oh, that's really hard to see for the Terran. To see that. 73 supply after losing that to 65. Terran's actually still ahead Zerg tends to be at a lower supply, which is kind of interesting because they're supposed to mass up units faster than anything else. So you think they would max out more, but it tends to be the case where their units are so low supply. It actually doesn't end up being that way. It tends to be that's actually farther behind in supply, but we'll have to see. It always seems to be Zergs are way behind, but Stim will do a lot of damage to these Muta. We'll be trying to get off a free tank kill. Will that happen though? There's a lot of Lings doing a lot of damage, and oh, this could be really catastrophic. We'll be able to get that siege tank in time. We'll be able to blast away those Lings. It looks like that will be the case here. He might lose a fair amount of SCVs, but it looks like he'll just be pushing back here as Cloaked Wraiths are being a little pesky, but he does have that Overlord there, and it looks like he should be able to deal with this just fine. But more Lings are making their way down there. He did have this expand, by the way. I believe I showed that earlier in the video. I just never said anything about it. No upgrades, I think, on the Muta or anything. Zero upgrades for everything else, but it looks like he might be losing everything here. For the Zerg, at least, not really doing too much. A lot of dead Zergling bodies and blood just spilling over everywhere. Might get a free Overlord kill as well. Will that supply block him? It will not. And still going to go with... Oh, no. He's tech switching into the science facility. And actually finally getting U-238 shells or whatever the upgrade is called. Will it tell me what the upgrade is called? No, it will not. But the thing that gives Marines range. So, Scourge is like, yo, I'm going to try to be a baller and try to kill off stuff, but that's not really going to happen because there's Muta. Oh, will that connect? It will not, actually. And surprised with that. Probably on move command. That's probably why. And getting Lurker and +1 Carapace on the way. And we'll be getting any Spire upgrades. He will not upgrade front for the Terran. We'll be getting U-238 shells and nothing else. No eBay, it looks like. No, eBay is done. Upgrades on the Marines is actually +1. I didn't realize that. And no upgrades on the mech. So it looks like he might be pushing out with a small Bioforce. Probably got to try to deny this expand. That's probably what he needs to get done. It's pretty much left uncontested for. And we'll have 2 free hatcheries to kill. I don't think exactly what he's going to be doing. But will these Lings be able to counter that? Marines, that's a lot of Marines, though. I don't think a Ling is really going to do too much, but if he could intercept these tanks, though, that would be a really nice thing. Oh, it looks like it's exactly just going to be... Yeah, but this will be a big counterattack. It doesn't look like it's going to be in position. You'll have to push back here. And that's a nice little victory. Even though it didn't really do much, we'll have to force the whole army back, and he'll have to stim and kill off these Lings here. And yeah, I don't see how this could really do too much damage, just prolong the attack, which is really... if he didn't intentionally do that, I say it's a really good move by the Zerg, just to push back the army, because now he'll have more time to, that's a lot of Scourge. But there's not that many air units. Will he have, he will lose it. He doesn't have any Lurkers here, though, so that he'll be able to do a lot of damage. Oh, he will be trying to intercept as much as he can, losing a lot of Lings here. Oh, will he be able to stim and kill off the Lurkers? That's a lot of Lurkers there. And yeah, wow. We'll have to stim, and will he have enough for... we'll scan, and these Lurkers will have to fall back here, and there's still a lot of Marines running in here, and Lings will not do too much damage with that, especially stim Marines. +1 Marines at that, and we'll have another science vessel here to even help the score with that. So as long as he gets stim in here, do a lot of damage, he probably could do a lot of damage here, and these 3 tanks are really going to stop any kind of... extra damage happening. He's not really doing anything. I don't know what he's doing here. Just losing a couple Marines there, not being too effective there. Trying to push back to make sure he doesn't lose anything, but He's not. He might have lost the chance to do some damage to lose it. Oh wow! Looks like the Zerg might be able to. This might be the time he wants to push out now, or he either wants to commit himself. I don't know which one he wants to do, but we have another healthy army back at home, so maybe losing this army is not the worst thing in the world. But that is a lot of Lings running in here, and yeah, it looks like this army will fall. And my computer... Oh, no, didn't freeze this time. It just likes to freeze for, like, a solid couple seconds and then wants to continue on. So, it's actually the first time it does that. Normally, it just, like, completely just freezes, or it just runs at, like, 2 FPS. I don't know why it's doing that. But, so pretty intense stuff here. The kind of trading armies here, Lings have +1 Carapace, which is proving to be pretty effective here. We'll be getting +2 Carapace on the way as well. 0 upgrades on the tanks, +1 still for the Terran, getting +1 armor. As well, getting another factory in here, trying to probably get double protection on the tanks, possibly. But being super aggressive with his units here, it's still being off of 2 base, not expanding at all, which he probably could do with the minerals he has. He has 2,000 minerals here. Zerg is kind of low on minerals, actually, surprisingly. Only 800, 900 now. And what does Zerg have? It's 68 supply. That's a lot of lurkers morphing in right now. And will they be able to get down there in time to deal with this? I don't know. 103 supply. Terran's looking very impenetrable right now. And, you know, he's opting to go for this super aggressive style where he doesn't want to expand. Now, this is looking this probably look a lot different in the pro game. And, oh, that's just a meat grinder for everything right there. Now, this game would look completely different in the pro scene where he would be macroing probably much better. And I'm putting in the fact that D-rank players, I've come to expect that D-rank players are not going to be pro level, so I'm not going to even point it out. But the Terran is being so aggressive with his units right now, it's ridiculous what he can do off of 2 base. And, you know, this could really throw off a Zerg, especially since a lot of Terrans will probably try to expand and try to sit back, but he's being so active with his units, and, you know, it's being really pesky. He even has a Marine in here doing some damage. That's a lot of links continuing being morphed here, and Zerg doesn't really know what to do. He's gonna try to do some damage, and that Marine will finally fall. He could try to stim in. Looks like he doesn't want to stim quite yet. We will stim in here, trying to do as much damage as he can. We'll lose 2 Marines. We'll try to run in there and do some damage. He will have a healthy amount of lings in here to deal with that. Will he have another army at home? He will. His multitasking is pretty effective this game. You know, I'm just looking back at his APM. He's averaging 150 this game. And the Zerg is averaging 192, and, you know, I'm surprised what he can actually do with his APM. It's fairly low to what he's doing. It's pretty ridiculous. I mean, he's able to, you know, macro back at home. Not the best, but, I mean, because he's 3,000 minerals, and he's only off of, now he's off 3 base, but he was at, like, 2,500 when he was off of 2 base. But the fact of the matter is he's still producing like crazy. And he's outproducing his Zerg. It just blows my mind, and I really like this by the Terran. I like this aggressive play. I really, really do. Well, number one, it makes me very happy because it's a very interesting game, and they're not sitting around doing nothing. But and it looks like Zerg will be doing a counterattack. We'll try to intercept these SCV line, but not. We're never gonna do as much damage. Lings tend to have this like, oh, that's gonna do a lot of damage since they're not transferring away. And wow, they're gonna rack up the SCV kills right there. Wow. That's really going to be really helpful to the Zerg. Really going to put a hurt on the Terran right there. But right here you can see the Zerglings can't really attack moving SCVs. So sometimes they're not the best harassing unit unless a person's being very inactive. And you can see how the difference is. An active player will not lose their SCVs at all, versus an inactive player will just lose them all in 10 seconds. Especially with like crackling, and that's just so much blood on the field right now. That's ridiculous. And yeah, he's trying so hard to deny this bottom right and expand. And I'm surprised about the Zerg's not expanding elsewhere too. He could probably afford, but now the space has got to fall, and this is really gonna be hard for the Zerg to come back from. He'll try to do a link counterattack, but I mean, look at this. He has so much production. You know, it's ridiculous. Stop the double port Banshees as well. Not paid. I said it. I didn't mean to say it. And a lot of it's just a defensive Marine pack right here. Excuse me, I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, being so effective with his units here, and will actually be expanding over here as well, and just being so effective with his units. Could even stimulate here and probably just kill off this base outright. He has so many hatcheries here. This is the only reason why he's able to produce so much. He only has 3 hatcheries back in the top right hand main base, so if this base falls, it's pretty much game over for the Zerg. But somehow the Zerg is still holding this up pretty well. We'll be sending Mass Ling over +1/1 upgrades. Not being too effective with his upgrades. Could be doing a little bit better as these Zerglings are being pretty effective with +2. As Marines will be doing 5 damage to them, so we'll take 7. They're pretty beefy Zerglings right now. It's just a fact of the matter, pretty much. But did snipe off that, and Zerg doesn't have anything. He's not mining at all. He's only mining off the minimum amount of drones he has. He's not fully saturated on either of his bases, so this has really crippled him. And this is what you have to do as Terran. You don't want to be overwhelmed by the Zerg. And he even took this risky expand, and the Zerg couldn't do anything about it. I mean, the Zerg's probably best bet is probably to do more muta harass, but at this point, what can he do He doesn't have much of, and he only has 400 minerals left, and he's not. That's probably just because he's not producing anything right now. He can't produce out of these hatcheries because everything will be insta-dead, and if he produces out of these, lings will just get melted away. He's just at the point, but he's doing this nice little lurker damage right here, and he'll finally he'll be able to clean this up with the. Oh, but these Scourge might connect, and we'll lose at least one of them. Yeah, he will lose, and that's really good. I mean. It's a little nice win for the Zerg, but this game's probably way over at this time. I can't fathom how the Zerg can come back. I hope they would, but it looks like Team DeSPA will secure a win in this game. So, but hey, but who knows? Hey, who knows? This game's not over yet. Zerg will be a Terran will be a 4-base versus a 2-base Zerg, which tends to, in my statistical knowledge. A 4-base Terran probably has like a 95% win rate versus a 2-base Zerg. Especially one that's being an active Terran as well. Especially one that is able to produce so much stuff that you're able to have defensive squads in their risky third. And even has a... Ooh, well, necessarily not that important, but... Finally able to kill off this whole base over here, and the creep is finally receding. And... Yeah, it looks like he just kind of rebuilt a whole main over here just in case in the event that he did lose everything. He will be taking this expand, which is probably what the Zerg needs to do. But once the Terran's outside the main, outside the being of the space, it probably I'm guessing we'll probably force a GG at least somewhat moderately soon. But trying to do a link counterattack, trying to do whatever he can to stop the Terran. And you know, it just kind of brings up the interesting point in lower league games. Where the macro tends to be less of... When both players tend to have less macro, it tends to that they have all these minerals backed up. And it's just interesting to see because in higher rank games, everyone wants to keep their minerals as low because of being so active. But here, sometimes it feels like you want your minerals to be so low because once you lose your army, you'll have enough to have the game to be on longer. Nice Plague, though, getting all these, which will bring them down to at least, I think, 50 HP or something along those. Maybe even 1 HP. I forget how far Plague will go down. I know they'll bring it down to 3 HP. I know that, but I didn't know they would bring them all the way down even if they had 200. But even those had 1, so if you could just get a couple of Hydra out there and send those off, that would be a pretty good victory for him. He's not utilizing this space quite yet, but really, what can he do? Because he doesn't have drop. He doesn't want to invest in that. But the other thing, he's not really investing in a whole lot of other stuff. Otherwise, he will be irradiating the lurkers and defilers, because he has no way to kill these signs for himself. They're at 3 HP, but he has no anti-air to deal with these. And he could probably just sit in here and kill his army, maybe. But wants to be a little cautious. He doesn't want to play too aggressive. He doesn't want to lose off his entire army. But yeah, that's a lot of barracks here. 152 supply to a 41 supply. And by 20 of that supply is drones. Yeah, and I'm just surprised by what Obelisco is actually doing right now by his like passiveness. It just seems like he's just, you know, nom 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 defiler nom nom nom, you see everything. We'll be getting another Dark Swarm off and try to get some lings in here. Might do some damage. Oh, they will connect, and the Scourge will connect, and killed off the one with all the HP, too, which is kind of funny. And, could try to get another Dark Swarm off to try to work his way up, but, although really the Terran, all he has to do is just kind of chill out and wait. I think the Zerg is just kind of like just BMing right now. Just be like, yeah, so I'm just going to Dark Swarm everything till you can't do anything about it. As he's still mining, and he can still produce lings, and he can pretty much just, unless he's going to go match Fire Rat, which he's got, I don't think he's produced a single Fire Rat this entire game, even though he's going such high levels of lings. And yeah, I really don't know what the Zerg can do. And I think he's confused of what scenario he's in. And finally, he's irradiating this Defiler. Will he be able to get a Dark Swarm off? He will not. And will he be able to get another Dark Swarm off? It doesn't look like... Oh, he just did. I didn't even know like I had enough energy for it. Ooh, that Defiler might get some good... that Lurker might get good enough kills here. Got 1 kill. Oh, all those just died. Ooh, that's a big splattery pile of death right there. And wow. Wow. And Terran has yet to expand. Oh, no, nope, it didn't expand. And he even just denied off this expand. That's just... I forget the expression, like an anchor through the hole or something. I probably just don't know, but I really, really don't know. And Dark Storm actually expires, and now he'll just be able to push in here and do every kind of damage. Well, even the drones are getting action. Shuruken GG'd and left before even Obelisco could even, GG himself. So, pretty entertaining game, I have to say, being very active. Pretty long macro game, but, being that active thing, and these are the games I really like to see, the activeness of the player. It really shows off a stronger player, I think. But, hey, not the macro games are really that bad either. So, Team DeSPA will secure a lead in this series, will be a 3-2. So, we'll have to see if Team Courage can actually pull a courageous victory here I'm not sure if it's a best of 4 or if it's just whoever wins the most games. So either because there's one more game, so either they have to tie it. I think it's just they do a set amount of games, and then whoever wins or ties, that how it goes. I think a tie ends in 0 points being awarded to either team versus one losing a point or taking a point. So if Courage can win a game so the next game is going to be Pebble 444. It's going to be a Terran versus Pebble 444 is going to be competing for Team DeSPA, and Sniper Terran is going to be competing for Team Courage. So if Sniper Terran is able to secure a victory in the TVT that's upcoming on Match Point, it's actually going to be a pretty entertaining match to see. That will definitely, I believe, tie the series, which will end up being both teams will have a 0 points being awarded. So also for Fitz tip game of I forget what it is. It's Fitz tip of the game. So it's the F-Tog of the game. I'll try to remember that. The F-Tog of the game would be to the Zerg player. As you can see, it tends to be where a smarter player will exploit this. Zergs often will take these risky thirds. If you can exploit the fact that and be aggressive, being active with your units, they can't defend it. It's just not possible. So that will force the Zergs, they can't do that, and then you pretty much get that risk versus reward thing, paid off for you because now they can't defend it. I'd say 9 out of 10 times, if the opponent of the Zerg knew about that hidden expand, they'd most likely lose, or at least lose that expand because they can't fit to the other side of the map. These maps are big. It doesn't even matter how fast your unit is. It's a pretty big unit. So for you, I'd recommend trying to take your bases a little bit closer back to home so you can defend it. Or B, try to get more harassing out. I think that natural was more exposed than the main was, oddly enough. But this was a pretty tough game to analyze for you. The other thing is maybe not go mass ling, try to get some other unit composition, try to go for, maybe you're seeing that your lings aren't doing that much, so try to rush into more hive tech to get that early dark swarm going, which will help you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. I'll try to get game 6 going. I'll try to render these tonight so I can get some more VODs out, and then I can talk to you about what the future week plans for next game, because it'll be game number 6, and that's probably the most latest. That's probably what everyone will be watching anyway. So have a nice day, guys, and peace.